Hello boys and girls, this is a quick run through of how to draw a line graph for science. Now the plan here is to give you a quick rundown of drawing a number line, how numbers need to be evenly spaced out, and then putting together the parts to make a graph. And it's a bit like playing Battleship. You remember this game? I used to play it a lot as a kid. I bought it from an op shop and it was great. And you have a little grid. Here's a little grid and you put all of your ships in the grid and then the other person says, I fire a missile at A4, and they go, right there, that's A4. And when they have all of your ships hit out on the coordinates, you have to say, you sunk my battleship. But the main idea with the game is that you're trying to hit coordinates, and you don't know where you're firing. So to make a coordinate, you needed something on this side, and you come down there and say this is F. And this hit is on number 5. So F5, that coordinate hits right in here. That actually misses a boat. Making a graph is the same sort of thing. It's plotting coordinates on a scale. This one has a scale that goes up that side, and one that goes up that side. And instead of having A, B, C, and D, it'll have numbers up each side. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The only trick is that the numbers have to be evenly spaced out. So this one might be 0 there, and 5, 10, 15. There we go. Whereas the bottom, I'm going to highlight these ones here, well, they only go up in ones, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whereas up the side, they're going up in fives, 0, 5, 10, 15. But both cases, those numbers are evenly spaced out into a number line. The trick with a number line is to always make sure you know what your smallest number is going to be at the start and your largest number at the end. So if this was 0 up to 100, I would be able to measure that line and say halfway is here, halfway between 0 and 100 is 50. Halfway between 0 and 50 is 25. All of a sudden I'm able to plot a point with pretty good accuracy without having to do too much work. I'm going to change to yellow. If I was plotting 26, I would know that the point would be just above 25. If I was plotting 75, well, that's bang on between 50 and 100. So I can plot that point right there. Here's an example, and you might have already seen this one before. Pretend like a group of students in your class were investigating how quick seedlings grew. So they measured the height of the seedlings every day. So I imagine they might have had a little pot plant like that and a ruler, and every day they measured how tall the seedling was growing until they end up with a table. And here's the table that they made. On day 0, it was 0 centimeters tall. On day 1, it was 1 centimeter tall. These are our coordinates. 0 goes with 0 for the first point, and 1 goes with 1 for the second point. On day 2, its height was 2.1 centimeters. So on your number line, that's going to be just a little bit higher than 2. Back to how we already know about tables. So we need to make sure we have a heading. Our units have to be here in brackets. That way we don't have to keep writing them again and again and again. And what we measured has to be over on the right-hand side of the table. There's a pretty important reason for that, and I'm going to show you now. Okay, here it is. It's to help you remember which side goes where. This right-hand side will always go on the left-hand side of your graph. That's at least the way that I remember it. I always want to make sure that we put our tables, what you measure in that right-hand side, and then if you want to, draw a little, a mini graph next door, and just draw an arrow across so that when you go to do your graph, you'll know that height needs to be written on that y-axis. And you put that there with the little brackets, centimeters in as well, just the same as the title in the column, and then that means at the bottom you'll have to put days. And that has always helped me remember which one goes where. Well then, let's have a go at our graph. The first thing we need to do is get these numbers sorted out. So I'll do across the bottom first. We're looking at our smallest number, and up here that's 0, and our largest number up here is 6. So I might just start putting these numbers in, starting from 0 in the corner and spreading them out evenly until I get up to 6. 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now onto my other axis, height. I start at 0 and I'm going up to 5.8. Now 5.8 is almost 6, so I'm just going to go from 0 all the way up to 6. And again, I'm going to spread my numbers out nice and evenly. I can start from 0 in the corner, that side 0, 1, 2. So there we go, 0 up to 6, and on the left hand side here I've spread them out, so for every 2 boxes we go from 0 to 1, whereas down the bottom I go 0 to 1 in 1 box. Now that's okay. You know, if I wanted to do it really well, I'd spread those numbers out evenly so that they take up the whole line. But the most important thing is that all of the numbers are evenly spread along. So they go up in even steps. That's called having a scale line. Okay, next, now I have to put in my coordinates. According to my table up here, I have to go 0 with 0. And just for effect, I'm going to use red here, because those are the color codes I have for that coordinate. So 0 time, that's here, 0, goes with 0 for height, which is there. So I have to put it in right on the corner where they meet. That's that coordinate there. My next one is 1 goes with 1. So 1 will go with 1. And where they meet is right here. Lastly, 2 goes with 2.1. Time, days, is 2. So that's right there. And 2.1 is just above 2. So maybe just there. So I come across and I want to put it in just above where 2 would be for height. I'm going to keep going down now. I'll pause it so you don't have to watch me. And I'm going to add in each of those coordinates. I'll do one more. 3 is going to go with, oh that's terrible, sorry. 3 is going to go with 2.6. So 3 is down here, and it's going to go with 2.6. 2.6 is almost like 2.5, and 2.5 is 2.5. So I'm going to go just above 2.5. There we go. I'm going to do the rest of them in now. And there we go, I've put my coordinates in just like in Battleship. The 3 goes with a 2.6, that's this one here. The 4 goes with the next one, 3 point there, 6, and 5 goes with 5 exactly, so that's there. And 6 goes with 5.8, which is almost 6. So 6 going with almost 6 at the top there. Next I'm going to put in a line. At the moment, I think for us in Year 7, we're just going to join these plus signs. Oh, did I mention that? We have to make sure we plot with a plus sign. There we go. And our table doesn't mean much unless I put a title on it as well. So I'm going to put a title up here and underline it, and it's going to be called Growth of Seedlings. Beautiful. Next. Here is a better copy that I hand drew and inserted, and you can see where all of our marks come from. We have 1 mark for giving a title over here. Let's see. The fact that we have the height on the y-axis, which is this side here, up and down the left-hand side, that gets me a mark. And time with days down the bottom has to be on the other axis too. Both of them are labelled. That's good, because otherwise I wouldn't know what those numbers mean. And we have the units in brackets, just there. Now we have to plot correctly, so that means all of our plots need to be the right coordinates. 0 with 0 here, and 1 with 1 there. So give that a tick. Oh, and we have to use a plus sign. Next, we have to put in our line, joining those dots. We use a ruler and a pencil there. So I should mention before you go off and do yours, the whole thing needs to be in pencil. You need to get used to doing diagrams, tables, and graphs, always in pencil in science. And I suppose that means you always have to make sure you have a pencil and a ruler before you come into a science test. So I suppose, guys and girls, you've gone out and you've done your experiment now. You might need to put that into a table, or you might have a table already. You need to watch this clip again. You need to pause it in each different step. And you need to, first of all, space the numbers out evenly to make sure that you have a scale number line. And then complete the line graph by 1. Using a pencil and a ruler. 2. getting your numbers spaced evenly out, but making sure that you have the right thing on this y-axis, and that is always the thing that you measure. Once you've figured that out, put your labels in with units, and then spread your numbers out evenly. Then make your coordinates, make sure they match up, and then put them together with a line. Lastly, make sure you have a title at the top and you underline your title. You'll need to do that now with your own table, or maybe you'll do an experiment next and then do a graph, or maybe your teacher will just give you a graph and you'll have to finish it off. Either way, guys and girls, these are very important skills of science, and it's very important that we get onto them at the start of Year 7.